Hopefully, I will be able to get to my local comic book shop today and get me a copy of this DC K.O. If not, I'll order it from Midtown Comics. It may be hot, it may not be. It's involving Darkseid, so this is definitely something I'm interested in. Darkseid is probably one of the most menacing villains across comic books. So saw this article right here from comicbookclublive.com. Probably going to be some spoilers in here. So if you haven't read the book already, I probably would not listen to this video at this point. DC K.O. #1 shocker spoiler dies, and that's just the start of earth-shattering twists. Okay. For the second week in a row after Absolute Evil #1, it's clear DC Comics isn't holding back on wild, game-changing twists. That's because DC K.O. #1, which is in stores today, and spoilers past this point, again, there's going to be spoilers in this. Batman dies, an Absolute Universe crossover happens, and writer Scott Snyder even spoils that at the end of the story, the heroes lose and Darkseid wins. Seriously. That's crazy. That's a crazy twist. Spoilers don't necessarily bother me, so I'm okay with reading this article and finding out what's going on. This is big. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of killing off Batman. That's we'll see. We'll see how this works out. That's jaw-dropping. That's a jaw-dropping amount of twists. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. What happens in the issue, the broad strokes before we get into the wild specifics, are that a year after dying in the DC All-In Special, Darkseid essentially became the Absolute Universe. He conquered the future where the Legion of Superheroes live and has been working his way back to our time in order to take over the main DC universe as well. Why Batman though? I guess because it's shocking. This is shocking events happen. And look, there's a lot of comic book companies that make money off of shocking events. Not something that we necessarily always like, but I understand why it's done. I get it. As DC K.O. #1 opens, we get a glimpse of what will happen 7 days in the future when Darkseid takes over the entire universe all at once, consuming it. To stop him, the heroes hatch a dangerous plan. It turns out that there's a Heart of Apokolips, the sort of engine that powers Darkseid's home planet. At the center of the Earth, Darkseid's goal is to activate it and consume the alpha energy that comes from Earth Prime, and add it to his Omega energy instead. Instead, the heroes take the villains of the world off the board, though they don't more on that in a second. Wow. I hate when articles are written in this way, but anyway, plus, my reading skills out loud are not the greatest. Evacuate the Earth and decide to restart the Heart of Apokolips using the Omega energy that booster goal gathered from his time in the Absolute Universe. Okay, so I get it. They're going for the gusto. They're going all out, and this is a high stakes story. But I'm not sure killing Batman though. That's crazy. Once there, they will be sent through 5 levels of Mortal Kombat style challenges with 32 contenders. Each level, the winners will gain more Omega energy, which will corrupt them more and give them more power. But the end result, at least they hope, is that one of them will get enough energy to become King Omega, restart the heart to make it a positive force to counter Darkseid's negative force and bring everyone back to life. So that's probably okay. So I see it. That's how they're going to get around this. Sometimes the killing heroes, bringing them back to life works. Sometimes it gets a little overdone, overused. Pretty complicated, right? The short version is the DC heroes need to fight to the death and only one will win. You get it now. Anyway, let's talk spoilers. So I mean, that was a big spoiler. That's a pretty huge spoiler. This is a long article. I don't know that I'm going to read this entire article and get through this whole thing. Man, they go on for a lot. It says we're not doing the New 52 again. The first real surprise in this issue is a meta moment from writer Scott Snyder. The art in the issue, by what is from Javier Fernández and Xermánico. While trying to figure out what to do, the Quantum Quorum, a group of time travelers, including Skinny Doomsday, called the Time Trapper, suggest a solution: give up and start over. I guess that's one way you can do it, give up and start over. And to explain how that would work, Time Trapper explains that this sort of new timeline creation happened not that long ago, and a being restarted you all, restarted everything and everyone. Eventually, this timeline was reabsorbed, but for a brief period, it existed outside larger reality. I like a lot of this, a lot of these themes, although I do think sometimes comic book companies overuse the multiverses and restarts and all of that. But sometimes, you just need some new action, some new story, and I get why they use it. I understand. In case it wasn't clear, what he's talking about, we see the New 52 versions of the Justice League as in 2011 DC Comics reboot that followed the Flashpoint event after a brief discussion of how it would work. The heroes shoot it down. But like I said just above, this scene almost plays out like a DC editorial meeting as they discuss whether this is yet another opportunity to reboot or soft reboot the DC universe, a la Crisis on Infinite Earths 0 Hour, and yes, Flashpoint. The answer to that, whatever the DC universe looks like at the other end of DC K.O., don't call it a reboot. At least not yet. This is merely Act 2 of the 3-act story that started with DC All-In Special. You'll have to wait next October to see if they're like, okay, let's do a New 52 actually. And I know a lot of people didn't like New 52. I didn't mind it. There was a lot about New 52 that I did enjoy, but I could definitely see how people would be like, hold on, wait a minute, time out. I'm not sure if this is the direction that we want to go. So we'll see exactly how this works. Like I said, this is a long article. I'm not going to read the entire article. I will post a link to the article in the description. A lot of spoilers in there. Some big spoilers, actually. I don't know what I think about this. I want to pick up this book. Hopefully, Lord willing, today I'll get to pick up this book. And when I read it, I will let you know if the juice is worth the squeeze. Well, I guess you'll know if I don't review the book at all that the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.